Okay, we'll continue the lecture. So still urinary system. Okay, last time we stopped talking about the three main process of urine production or blood filtration in the kidney. Okay, three main process. Okay, of urine formation. Okay, first, what is the first process going to be? Remember, it's filtering the blood. So it's going to be filtration. Right? So, filtration. Because this is located in the glomerulus, then the names will be glomerular filtrations. Okay? Again, if we drawing the structure of the nephrons, okay, let's say gonna be like that. This is the collecting duct. Okay, and this part again will be the renal corpuscle that consists of two structures. The capillaries itself, I'm gonna use the blue color. I mean, the red color. I'm sorry, I'm colorblind. So this one is gonna be the glomerulus. Okay, and the second part will be, I'm adding the blue color now. Okay, that's blue part is the capsule. Look like a capsule, therefore it's called the capsule. So it's called the Bowman capsule. Sometimes it's also known as glomerular capsule. That's the same name. But I'm gonna use the Bowman capsule for appreciation for this person that actually study about this filtration. So Bowman capsule. And remember, the blood vessel coming into this glomerulus. Okay, so it's going this way. The one that enter, so the blood vessel that enter into the glomerulus is called, start with A, so it's going to be afferent arteriole. Okay, and then it's going to be exit from this glomerulus. It's going this way. So that blood vessels will be start with the E, exit. So this one is the efferent arteriole. Okay. Okay, we go here first. Now, the filtration is happening in this place over here, in the renal corpuscle, within the glomerulus and the Bowman capsule. Now, the Bowman capsule, so this capillary type is called the fenestrated. Remember, there are three types of capillary. One of them is fenestrated. So this is capillary, okay, of glomerulus. Okay, so in the Bowman capsules, there will be opening or hole that will filter the blood. Okay, so the blood filter is actually based on the pressure. Remember, artery carry the blood that has pressure from the heart pumping, right? So basically around 55 millimeter mercury that will enter into this, and it will push the substances out from the blood into the capsule. Okay, so we'll push that substances. Now, remember last time we mentioned that this filtration is only based on what? Based on, anybody still remember? Based on what characters of the molecules? The importance, the size, or other characters? Come on. Ethan, what is, so remember, only based on what? Then just size, size. So just remember that, size. Just based on size. It means that smaller molecules will be filtered. Big molecules will not be filtered, will stay in the blood. Okay, so smaller molecule, like iron, for example, will be filtered, will be pushed out from the blood into the Bowman capsule. Okay, other smaller molecules like glucoses, they are also small, compared to this, the pore or the holes over here. So glucoses will also be pushed out from the blood into this Bowman capsule. Amino acid will also be there. Okay, of course, the waste that we really want to remove will be there also. And the waste that really want to be removed from the blood will be, remember last time, urea, ammonia, okay, uric acid, okay, and then the creatine will also push out from the blood because we really want them to be out from our circulation. They are bad molecules. And other small molecules, of course, water. So water will also filter, will also push out from our blood. Okay, so these are the molecules that will be present in this formatting urine. This is not the final urine yet. This is not the final urine yet. The one that present in the Bowman capsule will be the urines that, the first urine that process over here. It's not the final urine. What will stay in the blood? Of course, all the cell, red blood cell, white blood cells, the platelets will stay in the blood. It will not be filtered. Bigger molecule like proteins will also be staying in the blood, will not be filtered. However, if someone have abnormality, they have problem with the kidney, that molecules may be also present in the urine. Therefore, this is the urinalysis can be used to screen whether your nephron or your kidney is in a good condition or not. Again, we have not done this yet yesterday. We will do it on Wednesday next week to do the urinalysis, to check your urine. Now, so these are the molecules that will be present here. Now, as you see over here, there are some ions that is really important for us, like sodium, chloride, okay, potassium, okay, the buffer, which is carbonic acid. they are really important for us. They actually has to stay in the blood. However, because they are small, they are actually being filtered, being removed. We don't like that. Eh? We don't like that. We have to take it back. You follow this? This is the reason why. This is the reason why there will be second process. So this is really makes sense why we have this process. The second process over here. What is the second process called? It is called the tubular reabsorption. From the name, you should be able to guess that this will be happening within this tube. The renal tube. Again, the renal tube over here. Renal tubule consists of three parts. The first part over here is the PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. The second part is the one that is down and then up. Up, that's the same structure, down and up, making a loop. Therefore, it's called the loop. Loop of Henle. Sometimes people call it also nephron loops. That's another name, but we're gonna use the one that found this loop, which is Henle. As a loop of Henle. And then the third part over here will be called the DCT, distal convoluted tubule. So these reabsorptions will be present in this tube. How? We're going to continue this blood flowing, the blood vessel, after coming out from the glomerulus, this blood vessel actually will follow this tube. So it's following this tube. So the tubules so I'm going to use blue color over here to show this blood vessel that follow the tubule. Now, this blue blood vessel over here now become capillary. They become capillary, and this called the peritubular capillary. Capillary of blood vessel that follow the tube, between the tube, peritubular capillary. All right. Now, how this process happening? The tubular reabsorption. Because these molecules are very important, like glucose, amino acid, we have to take them as soon as possible when they are leaving our blood. When they are present in this tube, we need to take it as soon as possible. It means that it has to be taken from the first part of the tubule. It has to be happening there. Otherwise, we're going to lose them. Therefore, most of the tubular reabsorption over here, majority will be present in PCT, the proximal tubule, which is the very short part over here, but a lot of reabsorption of important molecules in the PCT. Now, where actually the substance will be flowing, from where to where? That's the question. So reabsorptions will be happening from tubule, in this case PCT, into blood vessel. In this case is the peritubular capillary. Okay, so the reabsorption is coming from the tubule to the blood vessel. Why? Because this molecule is present in this tube. So there's going to be sodium ions, going to be water over here. What is going to be glucose, amino acid present here that coming from the Bowman capsule. They're flowing to this PCT. And then as soon as will be taken, will be reabsorbed into the blood vessel. Okay, just make sure you do understand this because there will be some questions regarding where they're moved, from where to where. So for the reabsorptions, the movement of substance is from tubules into the blood vessel. Return it back to the blood vessel. Okay? Therefore, it's called the reabsorption. So in this PCT, 100% glucose and 100% amino acid will be reabsorbed. What does that mean? It means that there should be no glucose and amino acid present in our urine. If it is present, when you perform the urinalysis, if you found the glucose over there, is actually telling us we have problem. Some people with diabetes, okay, most of the time, you will find glucose in the urine. Because what? Because they have too much glucose in the blood. So that's the glucose. Water, 65% water have to be reabsorbed. We don't want to lose too much water in the urine. We need to keep water in our blood, in our body. Other organ needs the water. So 65% will be reabsorbed over here. About 85% carbonic acid, which is our buffer system, will be reabsorbed back into our blood. About 50% chloride ions will be reabsorbed back, for example. And many more. You can see or you can read the list of the substances that will be reabsorbed in the PCT, in the PowerPoint. So I put all the lists over there, including the sodium, about 65%, phosphate will be also reabsorbed in the PCT. So PCT is really important part of this nephron that will reabsorb majority of the important substances that we still need in the blood. Okay, you follow this? The rest will be reabsorbed from the loop of Henle and also from the DCT and also from collecting duct, especially in this collecting duct. Okay, the rest of water will be reabsorbed back, okay, from the collecting duct into the capillary, the peritubular capillary. So water reabsorption will continue in the collecting duct. Okay. So water still be reabsorbed from the collecting duct. This is the final reabsorption. It means that the rest, okay, the one that is not reabsorbed, the rest of the water become part of your urine. So this last reabsorption over here is really important, okay, to see whether our urine is diluted or concentrated. Whether our urine is concentrated urine or diluted urine. You can see from the color. If the color is really dark, it means that our urine is really concentrated. There are so many things, less water in. But if our urine is a little bit bright yellow in color, it means that our urine is diluted. A lot of water in it. Okay? Now, this process over here, the last process, water reabsorption from the collecting duct, will be controlled by special hormone. Is called the ADH. Antidiuretic hormones, which is the hormone that produced by the hypothalamus and stored in the posterior pituitary gland. Yeah, remember, hypothalamus produce 9 hormones, 2 of them stored in the posterior pituitary gland. 7 of them will go to the anterior pituitary gland. If you still remember that, endocrine system last time. But again, the ADH is really important to tell whether our urine will be diluted or concentrated. You will be able also to see your urine next time. We're gonna give you the clear bottle, not clear bottle, clear cup. When you pee, you take it to the lab, and then you're gonna, kind of observe what is the color of the urine, whether diluted or concentrated. Okay, and also there is also observation for smell the urine, but I will not ask you to smell that urine. That part of smelling, that's actually part of the lab activity in our lab book. So it's asking also the student or the patient to smell the urine, but we will not do the smelling, just observing the color. So again, so the last absorptions will be happening in the collecting duct, and this is mostly reabsorption of water. We really need water in our body. We have to keep them. We have to reabsorb. And the last process will be in the collecting duct. That's the tubular reabsorption. The third process, again, because the filtration is just based on the size, sometimes if we have too much waste product in our blood, like for example, some people like to eat a lot of proteins. There's a lot of ammonia, urea, uric acid will be processed and then will be present in the blood. Sometimes it can cause something in the kidney, which is block the ureter. It becomes stone, especially the uric acid crystal. It can be stone in the kidney and block the ureter. Have you ever heard about the kidney stone disease? Well, that's actually mostly caused by the uric acid crystallization in the kidney. So if we have too much waste in our blood over here, sometimes the one that is filtered over here is not enough. It means that there are still some urea, ammonia, uric acid, maybe creatine, still present in our blood. We don't want that. We need to remove them. Therefore, the last process over here is called the tubular secretion, which is, it will secrete the rest of the waste product that's still present in the blood into the tube. Now, the flowing, so the movement of substance, from blood vessel, which is peritubular capillary, into the renal tubule, into the tubule. So it is opposite movement with the reabsorption. Reabsorption is coming from the tubule to the blood vessel. The secretion will be from blood vessel into the tubule, because tubule is actually the place for waste. So secretion is removing the waste, reabsorption is reabsorb the important substances. So it's from the blood, which is this peritubular tubule. So the ammonia, urea, ammonia, uric acid will be secreted. It is happening long way, starting from PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, is continue that secretion. So make sure all these waste products will be removed. If it is not removed, then what happen? You might have problems with the blood, which is the dirty blood. If it is not filtered correctly, that blood will be dirty and you will have problem. Okay, therefore, people that have this problem, they have to have what we call the artificial filtration. They have to go to the clinic in order to get what? Anybody know what's the name of the artificial filtration? Joe, what is the name of the artificial filtration of blood? When someone have problem with their kidney, they have to go to the clinic in order to their blood to be filtered with the machine. Dialysis. So dialysis, dialysis is artificial filtration. It might caused by maybe kidney that is not functional. Dialysis. That's the name of the artificial filtration. Okay. Do you have question for this one? The three main process of blood filtration and urine formation. No? If not, then continue. This process must be controlled, right? Remember homeostasis. So homeostasis. Homeostasis. All the process in our body has to be in normal condition. So we need to filter this. We need to do the filtrations, reabsorptions, and secretions within our normal range. Therefore, our body will control this, especially this one over here. This is really important to control, the first process. So glomerular filtration is the process that will be controlled in order to have the normal urine and normal filtration. So there are several control that our body perform to perform this homeostasis. First, I'm gonna erase this. Okay, three main process. Okay, three main control. First, there is a control that is done by the kidney itself. It's called the auto-regulation. Auto-regulation. Auto-regulation done by kidney. So kidney have the ability to control this process. So this process is by what we call first myogenic control, which is within the kidney. Remember this blood vessel, it has muscle, what? Smooth muscle. Smooth muscles. The smooth muscle that follow these blood vessels that enter into the kidney able to sense whether the filtration is too fast or too slow. So too fast or too slow. It is too fast, then this smooth muscle will contract, will constrict the blood vessel to kind of reduce the blood flow. Therefore, the filtration will be slowing down. We will not allow this filtration to be very fast because what? We will lose a lot of water if the filtration is really, really fast. We lose a lot of water. So there is what we call the myogenic control over here. Second control, it's actually happening in this DCT. Okay, so the epithelial cell of this tube, epithelial cell, is actually, I'm gonna change that. Okay, let's say this is epithelial cell of the PCT. Okay, it's actually touching the afferent arterioles. So the arterioles touching the PCT over here. Okay, this area is called the JGA. Right? So this area is called JGA, which is juxtaglomerular apparatus, which is the area of touching between the afferent arterioles and the PCT cell. So the blood is flowing here, okay, flowing into the glomerulus. Again, when the blood is flowing too fast, this JGA area will sense that. It will telling slow down. So mostly it will put the filtrations slow down. So mostly these auto regulations will causing what we call the GFR, okay, glomerular filtration rate to be low. So lowering the GFR. That most of the auto regulations process going to be or control. That's the first control, which is coming from the kidney itself. The second control is coming from the nervous system. It's called the neuronal control. Okay, which is in this case, because this is blood vessel. If you still remember blood vessel, when we talk about the auto ANS, autonomic nervous system, it consists of parasympathetic and sympathetic division. The blood vessel is actually only controlled by the sympathetic ANS, by sympathetic divisions of ANS. Okay, again, basically, if the GFR is too fast, we don't like fast filtration. When it is too fast, the sympathetic division of ANS will send the information to the smooth muscle over here, constrict the blood vessel. So it will tell constrictions of blood vessels in the, especially the arterial, afferent arteriole. Okay? When this afferent arterial blood vessel constricts, then the flowings of the blood into the glomerulus will be lower, will be slowing down. Thus will also reduce GFR. Okay? That's the control coming from the nervous system. The last control coming from the hormones is called the hormonal control. Okay. There are several hormones that is important in controlling this urine formation. The first one is called the ANP. Okay. The second ones will be a combination of angiotensins and renin hormones. Okay. And the third one is gonna be the aldosterons. And the last one is the control for the water reabsorptions in the collecting duct, which is the ADH. Okay, so the ANP is the one that will increase GFR. So if the filtration rate is really slow, the ANP will be produced, and then it will let the blood vessel to be dilated a little bit. So therefore, it will increase the blood flowing into the glomerulus, increase the GFR, glomerular filtration rate. The angiotensins, renin, and aldosterone, all of these hormone will reduce the GFR. Again, mostly we don't like the fast filtration. It has to be slowing down. Okay. And then the ADH is the one that increase water reabsorptions from collecting duct. Okay, that's the three controls for these filtrations and urine formations in the kidney. And again, just remember, basically the filtration is done by a unit called the nephron. So all unit over here is called nephron. That consists of renal corpuscle and renal tubule. And do you still remember how many nephrons that individual have? So we actually, all of us have the same number of nephrons since we were born. Therefore, if some of them broken, it cannot be replaced. You done. We done. How many nephrons, Joe? How many nephrons everybody have in one kidney? Sydney? Still remember? Daniel? 1 million per kidney. So basically, we have about 2 million nephron, both kidney. If it is broken, that's done. It's broken. It cannot be replaced. What can be replaced? The kidney itself. If someone have problem with the nephron, the kidney will not function. But they still can receive the kidney transplantation. So someone with just one kidney, the kidney, one kidney actually able to perform 80% filtration. It means that is enough. So if you, for example, donor your kidney to your family, you will still be okay because one kidney should be able to perform close to perfect filtration. So some people, donor their kidney. Now, just for your information, sometimes in some developing country, this is just for your information, in some developing country, they actually sell their kidney because of their difficulty in their life. So they sell their kidney for some million, not $1 million, million of the, the currency on their place. Maybe thousands of, So that's the problem, okay? So some people that really need kidney, some hospital clean, for example, they sometimes find the kidney from some other places that actually some people sell it. So I don't know about America. I believe maybe they don't sell the kidney. But if you, for example, if your loved one have a problem with the kidney, and then you are actually the best match for the kidney transplantation, you still be able to donor your kidney, and with only one kidney, it should be work. It should still be able to filter the blood and produce the normal urines. Do you have questions for this? No? Okay, for the rest of this chapter, especially for the name of the abnormality, the disease, please read the PowerPoint. There will be a lot of questions coming from that also. Like, for example, kidney stone, renal calculi, and then kidney or urinary tract infection, UTI. Mostly the UTI coming from outside, not from inside your body. It means that the first organs of the urinary system that will be infected will be what? Will be the urethra, because urethra is the one that closest to the environment, especially for girls. I'm telling you, because girls' urethra is shorter. Girls mostly have more risk of having the UTI because of that shorter urethra. And the way also, this is just for your information, okay, the way some women clean their part after, performing bath, pee or poop, sometimes it's wrong way. So some people, for example, when they use the, the bath tissue, they swap it from the anus up into the vagina, which is wrong. Because what? It can carry the bacteria from feces into the private part. So if cleaning, make sure you push it down. This is practical, okay? Because that can cause the urethritis, and then it's going up into the bladder, is causing what they call the cystitis, is going up to the kidney, nephroglomerularitis, and etc. So mostly coming from the urethra. That's the first organ that will be infected for the UTI or urinary tract infection. Okay. Sexual disease also is there. So make sure you study that disorder or abnormality. And your assignment will be due next week on Tuesday. That include the next chapter. The next chapter is not that many information, so we're going to use the screen for the next chapter, which is water balance. Do you have question? If you don't have question, then we're done, and I'll see you next week.